Hi there, you're listening to Unnatural Selection, the show about newsy type stuff and things. My name is George.
My name is Tom.
And my name is Adam.
And with our powers combined, we are Unnatural Selection. Make sure you visit us at our salubrious home on the web, unnaturalshow.com. It's a podcast about the news that, when all else fails, turns to comedy as a last resort.
And it's the last resort, is it? It's been my first resort this entire time. What have you guys been doing?
What?
Wait a minute. Hang on.
Shit.
The first order of the show is to just tell the news. Is that
Well,
what we're doing?
it's a podcast about the news.
Yep.
And
I love we're having this conversation 16 years in.
yeah, no, it's important that we nut this out.
Really,
What
let's
are
get the
we?
threads.
What are we?
What are
If you
we?
were to ask what
Do you love me?
the mission vision, what?
Huh? I'm just saying, like, what are we? Like, what are we? We've been doing this for like 16 years. When are
I
you
think
gonna commit?
we provide upward mobility and drive shareholder value.
Yeah.
Through synergistic
in-
solutions,
Yeah.
through generative AI.
Yeah, we are.
And I'm just getting a notification. We've been valued at $1 billion.
Yes.
Nice. Netflix can buy us instead of Letterboxd, but that's a story for another day.
I don't know what Letterbox is, and I don't care. Mitch McConnell is probably dead. Top story.
Is it him probably being dead, or is it that Lindsey Graham?
Well,
actually
Lindsey Graham is
died?
definitely dead.
I
so
was
we
going to
learned that
say,
today.
should we jump into that? It's like, yes, top story. Mitch McConnell's probably dead is superseding this story that Lindsey Graham is actually dead.
Lindsey
as
Graham,
of like a few hours ago.
Lindsey Graham actually dead. God needed a closet warhawk. And for some reason, we're just getting a call from Lindsay. Apparently, it's really hot and unpleasant here in heaven. I don't know what's going on.
Who is Lindsey Graham? For those who don't know,
Lindsey Graham was a U.S. senator who passed away after a brief and sudden illness, aged 71. And he was very famously a Trump ally, particularly with regards to bombing brown people. Lindsey Graham really enjoyed dropping bombs on people. Nothing gets Lindsey Graham hard like dropping bombs on browns. So
I think the politically correct way is to say that he was hawkish.
Hawkish. With regards to murdering innocent brown people. The South Carolina lawmaker passed away after a brief and sudden illness. His office posted. NBC News said emergency personnel had responded to a call about a cardiac arrest at his Capitol Hill home on Saturday night. Shortly after his death was announced, Mr. Trump called Graham one of the greatest people and senators I have known and a hardworking patriot. So, and Donald Trump should know, because he's mixed with the likes of notorious pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. So he knows a lot of great guys. So to get that, sort of post-mortem endorsement from Trump really means something.
And
I'm surprised. Sorry, you go, Tom.
Oh, I was going to say an amazing turnaround given how vocally critical of Trump Lindsey Graham was prior to the 2016 election.
Well,
so, like so many of them, right?
Moments,
so many of them were like, oh, no, this guy's shit. We don't stand for this. Ah, crap. No, what do you mean? No, I never said he was shit. What are you talking about? Woo, Trump forever.
The joke I had was, Tom and I were both on the same wavelength with a different phrasing, but I was like, I'm kind of surprised he died, because he could do an amazing backflip, like just a full 180.
Fantastic physical health.
Yeah, just like this guy could have gone to the Olympics.
Well, nobody can backflip like Lindsey Graham.
No.
They said it was a brief and sudden illness. It's pretty brief and very sudden if the illness is a backflip that ended up face planting the now concrete White House Rose Garden.
That would be a very brief and sudden illness if that were the case. Huge.
Maybe he tried to do he's already backflipped once. Maybe he tried to do another backflip to go back to like an adversarial backflip. And they just couldn't land it. Like, it's just one backflip too many, and unfortunately.
That's a shame. He will be missed by someone, I presume. Mitch McConnell.
Well, I imagine all the people on Grindr whenever the RNC's in town.
Famously rumored to be.
Has anyone checked on Grindr in the last couple of hours? Are they okay? Do they need flowers?
Veil Lindsey Graham on Grindr. It's the homepage. rumored to be a closeted homosexual and ardent family first Republican. So I'm sure, God rest his soul if ever it is located. Speaking of soulless cretins, Mitch McConnell may also be dead. It shouldn't be a difficult question to answer as to whether a Tennessee senator is alive or dead, and yet it is not clear whether that is the case. So on the 14th of June, the 84-year-old senator and permanent buffing avatar, Mitch McConnell, was hospitalized for a medical event. According to a video and eyewitness account, McConnell was loaded into an ambulance on a stretcher after a possible cardiac arrest at his home. It really does seem like the gerontocracy is really catching up with America at the moment. It's all of your, sort of, reptilian evil leaders experiencing mysterious cardiac arrests. I mean, just because they're in their 70s and 80s doesn't mean they should suddenly drop dead because of health issues, surely, but apparently that is the case. McConnell has famously experienced a number of medical events on camera in recent years, as we've noted. And there was that famous famous
a charitable read
buffering events
froze.
where he literally froze on camera for 20 to 30 seconds. That's happened a number of times. There's also famously fell over on the stairs and things like that. So definitely a man, 84-year-old man in the peak of physical and mental acuity, and should be legislating, lots of different important things for the future of the American public. But so they said that some paramedics attended his home. The CPR was performed. He was taken to a hospital, and since the 14th of June, he has not been cited in public.
A month.
So we all agree, like everyone agrees on those initial things. He, obviously had some sort of cardiac issue. He's gone to hospital, probably been resuscitated. It's what happens next that everyone's got different.
And now all of his staff is like, he's fine. Everything's great. He's so good.
So great. Spoke to him just now. We played pickleball. He's awesome.
He was doing a backflip over Lindsey Graham. And I'm just getting where. Mitch. What's that, Mitch? Oh yeah. Okay. No, I'll tell him. Yeah, and Mitch says he's doing fine and everything's great. So he had a reportedly, according to Majority Leader John Thune's representative, he claimed he'd spoke to Mitch the previous day and they had, quote, a lengthy and substantive conversation that covered a variety of topics, including national security. Senate Republican Whip John Barrasso and political commentator Scott Jennings have also said they had 20-minute phone calls with Mitch McConnell on those same topics.
Not a minute more.
So these people have said they've had 20-minute phone conversations, but Trump
it is
ally,
weird to say we've all had 20-minute phone conversations that talk about
specific.
Him holding up today's newspaper. It does seem a little suspicious.
Yeah, we've all
Mitch,
had
what day is it?
We've all had a chat with Mitch on a variety of topics. What day of the week is it? Who is the president?
I believe it's Ronald Reagan. I hate to tell you, Mitch, it's actually Donald Trump. Oh, the guy from Home Alone 2? Yes, the very same, Mitch. Oh.
You're
That's what
assuming
sent him
that
over
Mitch
the edge.
McConnell has seen Home Alone 2.
Well, he was a big fan of Home Alone 1. I don't know if he was. I made that up. But you can't defame someone who's dead, so I should be fine.
So
Mitch
Trump
McConnell's
wife.
Hang on.
Well,
Mitch McConnell's wife, Elaine Chao, also had a nice 20-minute chat with her husband.
Were they all 20 minutes? Yeah.
Exactly 20 minutes because 20
Is it
minutes.
like the phone plan runs out after 20 minutes?
He had 80 minutes and he had to get 4 phone calls in. So in a statement issued on Tuesday, quote, she said the senator's health did not warrant an immediate return to the US. Yeah, because he's fucking dead.
Also she had left the country. She had left the country 2 days before it happened to go to China.
Suspicious?
It's just like, I don't know, you haven't come back to the country after your husband needed a month in hospital?
Nah, it'll be fine.
So despite all of this evidence, these 20-minute phone
circumstantial
calls,
evidence, admittedly, but it definitely doesn't. He hasn't done a video, like a quick little cameo, being like, "Oh, hey, it's Mitch McConnell. I'm not brain dead." He hasn't done anything like that.
Smash that like button.
Anyway, but
like and subscribe.
So, far right influencer Trump ally Laura Loomer made a claim on Twitter
I hate it when I agree with Looney Loomer about something. I hate it.
She reckons that McConnell is officially brain dead. Desiree Townsend,
wasn't he
who
always?
apparently is an independent journalist, reckons that she's heard the same thing from her sources, that they're just sort of waiting for him to be taken off life support.
Yeah.
And then there's this sort of, and then basically
one final filibuster. Let's do it, Mitch. Let's fucking go. One final filibuster to fuck the Dems. Let's do it, Mitch.
So, and then the other thing that's got the sort of conspiracy brains going is that because the midterms are coming up in November.
Yeah.
And he's already going to retire.
Yeah,
so that
he
was
said
already slated. But like what they don't want to do is trigger like a by-election,
a special election now. Yeah.
They want to wait to the midterms. So they're like if their plan is honestly, let's make him hold on. Let's keep his body.
Just hang on, Mitch.
Technically alive until November.
I don't know what the fuck is wrong
Surely
with these.
they couldn't do that. No,
These politicians.
That's too much.
They
man.
kept Dianne Feinstein holding on for a good 6 months, and that woman was melting by the end. Like, she was in her 90s, bro. So I would not put it past Mitch McConnell's staff to say, well, let's just give him, maybe he'll get better, he might be brain dead, but something might kickstart this old fucking Kentucky shitbag back to life. You never know.
I mean, given all the like lengthy freezing in the middle of press conferences and stuff that they have still pushed along with him, I wouldn't put it past them to weekend at Bernie's this shit.
Yeah.
Just to puppeteer him up. I mean,
hey, Senator, were we talking about
right.
XYZ? They whisper into a man who's clearly having the stroke's ear. I would not put it past them at all to keep this fucking thing going.
The joke in the group chat before this show was that George posted this up. No, was it George? Tom? One of you two posted it up.
Yeah.
No, about Lindsey Graham. That's right.
Yeah.
And then you made the comment, Tom. How did this guy outlive? Die? How did Mitch McConnell outlive this guy? And I was like, well, Mitch McConnell's been, without seeing any of this, without knowing this was a thing. I had no idea this had happened. I was like, well, Mitch McConnell has been an android, replaced by an android lookalike years ago. And then the fact that he has all these brain fades is actually him just not syncing back to the server.
That's what it is. It's a buffering issue, we said.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you play in
without
pod.
Knowing that you had this story in the rundown. And I checked it half an hour later, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, Adam. He's been in the shop for repairs for a month. I
can't
just
believe that.
It is just, I know we've said this probably every damn week for the
his
past
wife in
decade,
China?
which is this, just how crazy everything that's going on, particularly in American politics, is. But the fact that it has been a constant question for a month: is the Senate Majority Leader alive?
Yeah. That's right. He's the Senate Majority. He's not even just a random backbencher anymore. He's still in a leadership position.
I don't know.
He is
about
still
that.
the Senate Majority Leader, isn't he?
Kentucky. I don't actually know about that.
Have they moved him down? I thought he was.
I think he might be in an emeritus status now because he's brain dead. So
right, because I thought he was still the big guy, the big Kahuna, and that's why it was even more crazy. It's he's. Isn't he meant to be leading the Republicans in the Senate?
They do call him Leader McConnell, I think, in interviews.
Oh, you could be right. I might be wrong about that.
Yeah, because I know Chuck Schumer's, I thought, is the Senate Minority Leader. He's the Democrat leader in the Senate.
Oh, serving... No, fuck me, dead.
Well, I mean, we're in
till 2025, he was the Senate.
So maybe it's just they just refer to him out of respect, maybe.
Or maybe they just haven't updated the Wikipedia page because they thought he'd be dead by now.
Yeah, the newsreels have had the package ready to go.
Well, they've had the package ready to go since fucking 2015, bro. What are you talking about?
It's like how Kissinger's obituary writer died before Kissinger.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
Because they've had it in the can for so long.
I mean, I know the American healthcare system is terrible, but like in the sense that it's it's equality. But like if you can afford the good stuff, like they can keep you going well past your due date.
And someone like Mitch McConnell can definitely afford like the fucking like Ra's al Ghul Batman fucking immortality pit. I forget what it's called.
Yeah,
the Lazarus pit.
It's all the adrenochrome that keeps them going, of course, as we know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I've already used up all my "he was a terrible person, no one's going to miss him" jokes on Lindsey Graham, so I have nothing left for Mitch McConnell, I'm afraid.
It's all right.
Well, it's lucky that he's not dead yet, George. He's clearly very much alive.
This is great, really, because he's filibustering his own death. We get 2 bites of the apple here, so I can think up some jokes for next week for what he is in fact announced to be dead.
Yeah, Mitch
next
McConnell,
year, you mean?
Mitch McConnell is probably dead. Jokes are going to be evergreen for the immediate future.
Yeah, he's going to run and win, and then get declared dead on December 1st.
And we are recording on the 12th of July here.
Are you time-stamping it? Because you're pretty sure he's going to be announced dead any moment now.
I'm time-stamping it. But I also just...
Just so the commenters don't get mad, time of recording is 8:49 p.m.
East Australia time. I do also want to mention the fact is that...
Did you just call time of death for Mitch McConnell?
No. The Strait is closed at this current time. It may be open.
They started bombing. As we said last week, it's an
thing.
evergreen statement that the US bombed Iran whenever
again.
When we
pull out the same article we read 3 weeks ago and read it again.
Does it on purpose on the weekends because the market's closed? Is that too fucking conspiracy brain of me?
You mean so he can so Trump can get like the dopamine hit of
he gets his jollies
like
out.
Dictator.
He gets to bomb Iran, and then
yet.
things can settle by the time the market's open again on Monday. I don't know, because it seems like every time we record a show, breaking news: Donald Trump's bombed something in Iran.
The Strait might be closed. The Strait's open. The Strait's closed.
Mm-hmm.
Schrodinger's Strait.
Yeah.
It's both open and closed at the stream time.
It's operating. This is operating at a quantum level. It is both until observed. And just you gotta
and we can joke about it, but it's actually terrifying and disturbing.
It's bad.
And I think it's going to get worse. I feel like this memorandum of understanding may as well have been
misunderstood.
I thought, well, yes. I feel there's not a lot of understanding.
Memorandum of misunderstanding, if you will.
I think it's going to escalate and get worse.
Yeah, no, it's bad, and we'll, I'm sure, cover it next week when there's a fresh round of bombings right after the markets close. But till next week. Speaking of being in a quantum state of being there and not being there, we have Nigel Farage, who is now no
story
longer
is batshit.
the member of Clacton-on-Sea because he has resigned, and he is now running in a by-election to be a member for Clacton-on-Sea.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
So break this down for us. Tom, I can't. I don't.
Yeah. So
I read this. I didn't get it.
Yeah. I think I get it somewhat. Like as I've said, I think I've said it nearly every episode the past couple of weeks. The British politics is seeming so unserious right now.
It's just fucking nuts at the moment.
It's bonkers.
Zeteo UK launched the other 2 weeks ago. This is Mehdi Hassan's independent news outlet. They started in the US. He's a UK journalist and moved over to the US and did a big stint at Al Jazeera and MSNBC and things like that. And he's gone and started his own network called Zeteo, which is great. They do a lot of great reporting on Gaza and stuff. And just in the last couple of weeks, they've launched Zeteo UK. And really, Mehdi, you could not have picked a better time because you had Andy Burnham's by-election, you had Keir Starmer resigning, and all this dog shit with Nigel Farage. I think Mehdi's behind it all pulling the strings. I mean, I have to think that there's got to be some sort of organizational principle.
There's a correlation there. We're not sure of the causation.
It's a great time to be in UK politics news right now.
So what's going on is that for a while now, Nigel Farage has kind of been he's been copping a lot of flack, and there's been a lot of pressure on him
because of the corruption and the millions of pounds. Fucking where?
That he received a lot of he received like a lump sum of money from a convicted described as a convicted fraudster named George Cottrell,
otherwise known as
is
Posh George.
Oh, is this George's flexo over in the UK? Does he have like the little goatee and he's like your alternate?
Yeah, he's evil me. He's just me with a goatee.
He's you from that Star Trek universe where they all have clones.
Yes. So
he got
George,
this money from him, right? And
£5 million.
Yeah,
no,
like $5 million.
Different person.
Oh, different.
There's two different
billionaire who gave him a bunch of money. Sorry, I'm getting my wires crossed.
But yeah, because that's right. He failed to declare the £5 million from a British Thai political donor.
Christopher Harborne is that
yes,
person's
Christopher
name.
Harborne. Yes, that's the one. But it also
was that the crypto guy? Was that a different guy?
That's the crypto
so that's
guy.
the crypto stuff.
Yeah, crypto billionaire.
And then he's also like received benefits from this guy, like convicted fraudster. Anyway, so there's just been lots of pressure on him just being like, you're getting money from some sketchy people, and his story around why he received the money going from donations to gifts to all these sorts of things has just been woefully inconsistent.
Yeah, reward for Brexit. Oh, actually, it's for my personal security. Actually, I can spend it on whatever I want.
All this sort of stuff going all over the place. And so Nigel's response to this now has been, well, I think I'll just let the people decide. Like, I'll be tried by the people. And
Are
doing
you not
that by
entertained?
resigning to then contest the seat again, because if he gets elected back in, he'll see that as being vindicated for everything he's done, right? They're like, no, I'm off the hook because they elected me back in.
It's an annoyingly canny move from the world's worst person. So
it's a hell of a gamble.
He's also going to hit the taxpayer to fund that election. And the the thing is, he is being investigated by the Parliamentary Standards Commissioner.
Yeah.
So I guess the thinking is that if he is no longer a member of Parliament, that
they can't investigate him.
Go?
Well, they can't investigate him if he's not a member of Parliament. But the thing with running to become a member of Parliament again is if you are successful in that endeavour, they will simply restart the investigation.
Does he think this is like double jeopardy rules?
But what if he declares
you can't charge me for the same crime twice?
Yeah. He's actually Judd.
What if he declares it? Because he could run again and then make because the fact is he didn't declare it, and that's the issue. But if he ran again and then declared it,
I think you're galaxy braining this too much.
Yeah,
he did things which are against the rules for an MP to do, and if he becomes an MP again, they will simply resume the investigation for him having done those things because he didn't disclose it when he should have done so.
Right. And it's also like, you can't for any other crime be like, well, but I'm not murdering them now. I was murdering them then, but since you're not investigating me during me murdering them, you can't. Can't touch me.
It's not dual citizenship. You can't just go takesies backsies and have another election and it'll be fine.
But the thing that infuriates me the most about this, aside from the circusness of it all, is that at least, as last I checked, unless they've done, like, what are we at 8:56 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on the 12th of July.
I should check in and see how Mitch McConnell's doing.
Yeah, unless there's another change happening here, like the Labor Party being in government, like the Tories, the Greens, the Liberal Democrats, all the other parties are kind of being like, we're not going to run anybody.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, this is a
circus,
farce,
and we're not going to waste taxpayer money on this.
We're not going to waste taxpayer money on this because he's just he'll just get back in. But but also, he's guaranteed to get back in if you don't contest him. You could at least fucking try, given this election has to happen anyway. It frustrates me that they're not even gonna try to unseat him.
That's what
he's
he
just
wants,
rolling over and letting him take it.
No, and this is what they've sort of gamed out or it's what he's gamed out is that if they run against him, he can then use that as, the establishment are trying to undermine me, and
that's been his talk track the whole time.
So it'll just play into his narrative, right?
Yes. It's a no-win scenario for the other parties because if they earnestly try to compete for this seat, then then it's like, now it's about the horse race. It's not about his corruption. It's about, who's ahead, 3 points in the fuckity poll. Like, it just becomes about reporting out an election and it legitimizes it. Whereas I reckon they've all gotten on the phone to each other, all the major party leaders, and they've just gone, fuck this guy, right? Okay.
I mean,
Hear me out on this. We all don't contest it. Gentleman's agreement. I don't contest it. You don't contest it. Let this fucking asshole flap in the wind. Are we
Put
good?
Count Binface in there. Let's go.
well, that's
Count
the thing.
Binface
He
is the only other guy running.
Oh,
That's
really?
the thing. Count Binface is running because I
I
don't know.
thought he
it
was
seems
a
to me like-
lord. Is he Count Binface?
well, no, he was Lord Buckethead, and I believe he's now Count Binface.
Which one's higher? Is Count higher than a lord?
I'm
think
not
so.
sure.
Oh, Lord's higher.
Where does a duke fit into this?
Well,
I'm not
Duke,
up to
that's
date.
Like, Duke is like royal family, like all that sort of stuff. Anyway, but no, I disagree slightly in that like there's no sort of win there because if you've been putting this pressure on this guy to be like you're corrupt and should resign, you are effectively saying you shouldn't be an MP or in British Parliament or representing those people. And the next thought there is,
Yeah, but then you
so
don't get
who
to.
should be representing those people? Someone from our party.
But then you
is what
don't
they
get
should
to
all
turn
be
around and
thinking.
fucking run again for the by-election. The whole thing is a circus. Nigel Farage has one narrative focus for Nigel Farage's life, and that's
Yeah.
Nigel fucking Farage.
Yeah.
So if you allow him to run again, you're just playing into this narrative where he just soaks up all the oxygen in the room. It's that, sloppy Steve Bannon thing of, fire hose of shit.
Fire hose of shit. I mean,
Right?
I guess so, but on the other hand, to me, it just looks like they're being like, well, no, we can't influence like this. We can't do better for this constituency.
I mean,
Take
they
it.
could.
Like,
They
yeah,
could
you're all a bunch of
run-
fucking
No,
reformer
it's-
cunts. Fuck
I think
yous.
it's the right move. It shows that we're not playing along with this fucking dog and pony show, right? And I
And
think
they haven't got compulsory voting either, right?
No.
So it's like they would have
Yeah.
to.
there's also no
encourage voters
guarantee
to turn out.
that another party would win, because by all
but
accounts,
there's a
pretty-
guarantee another party won't win if you don't try.
Yes, but it's more devastating for the Labour Party or for the Tories to run someone against obviously corrupt Nigel fucking Farage and then lose, because then that further legitimizes him.
What they could do, which would be like you could run an independent and try, and then you could use the major parties. They could back channel money through to like fund the independence
That
movement.
sounds
against
like
him.
fraud.
Is that how that works?
election
sounds
fraud?
like some backroom fucking smoke-filled room shit you're
Yeah,
trying to cook
I
up
don't
there.
I don't know if you're allowed to
Maybe
be
you're
a
not allowed to
major
do that.
party
Adam's like,
and
we're
run
just
an
AstroTurf.
independent. Yeah.
Everyone else is doing it.
We just AstroTurf
If
a fucking
Advanced
political
Australia
movement.
can do it here, why can't we do it over
We'll
there? I
get
don't
the
know.
Russian bots in. No. Hear me out on this, guys. No, I think this is the move. Is just let the asshole flap in the wind. Because there's no way that this looks good for him if he's only running against Count Binface. The only real danger is, what if Count Binface actually wins
Well, I think
in a two-person race, which is
that would
now
be excellent because
a
his
protest
policies
vote.
are wonderful.
Yeah.
His
Does that mean he has
policies
to-
are great.
Does that mean the actor has to keep that up?
I guess.
that character up for like four
Isn't
years
that an
if he
episode
gets
of-
elected?
Black Mirror, where it's like some comedy cartoon like character
Guy
gets
gets
elected
elected.
as an MP, and then like he has to play the
George-
character of this
George,
cartoon
I think
character.
that's a very offensive way to characterize the great country of Ukraine.
Yes.
Is that what is that
Zelensky was a
Zelensky
comedian.
was formerly a comedic actor in a
Oh,
TV
I see.
show
You were
where he played the
saying
president
that I was
of
taking
Ukraine.
a swipe at Vladimir
Like-
Zelensky. That's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah, because
no, it was an
he
episode
was a
of Black Mirror.
comedian who has been elected.
Yeah, no,
as a
got
leader
it.
of
Yeah.
it. Thank you.
Yep.
No, but like Count Binface, they should vote Count Binface in because, like, with just like surface level stuff, looking at his policies, he's said that he wants to mandate that that 99 flake, like ice creamy things, and 99 pence. Like, just make that a rule, and he wants to nationalize Adele.
What does that mean?
reckon. I don't know, but you know what? Let's just give it a try. It's
And-
better than anything Nigel Farage is offering.
I mean, if they can do it with the Falklands, they can do it with Adele, I suppose. Just hardly likely to be able to put up much of a defense against a submarine. So, do we think this gambit is going to work out for fuckface Farage? What do we think?
Well, if he's
I don't know,
running effectively unopposed, yeah, he'll get back in, and we'll just be back where we are. That's my
I did
point.
find
that
the,
we should try
did
and
find
stop him.
the stat that he had unsuccessfully run for a lower house seat
Oh, he's been running
times.
Yeah, several times.
He only won in 2024. And obviously his polling's very good at the moment.
Well, he's odds-on favourite to be the next prime minister. He's the least unpopular, sort of figure it's Andy Burnham is the least unpopular figure in British politics. But if you look at all the sort of where people think things are going to go, they think things are going to trend towards Reform and Farage. So he's still the sort of odds-on favourite to be the next Prime Minister of the UK, even if Andy Burnham has a sky-high approval rating of 36%, the most popular figure in British politics. 36%.
Huge. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I suspect, will it get rid of the corruption noise? Probably
I think it's not about it getting rid of it's about changing the narrative. What's that Frank Underwood quote? If you don't like the way the chess set is laid,
if you don't like the way the table's set, turn over the table.
It's exactly out of the Trump playbook. It's all bluster. It's all big gambles. It's all, change the name of the game. I don't think I actually don't, for Nigel Farage being such a fucking idiot, he's actually not a dumb guy. Like, he is a very canny, in the way that Donald Trump has a kind of reptilian sense of where the far-right shitheads are. He sort of
Nigel
gets
Farage
politics,
has a working brain.
Yeah.
Like, he's a fucking idiot, but he has a working brain.
Yeah.
Unlike Donald Trump.
I mean, I do think the UK media is different to that here in Australia as well as the US to some extent. UK media love a scandal, man. They won't let shit go. They will not the press in the UK, the paparazzi, the whatever.
Oh yeah.
They don't let shit go, man.
Just ask Princess Diana. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, even if he pulls this up, let's say, he does this thing and it gets back in, whatever. I feel like this will sort of dog him unless he properly addresses it. But I guess it's a question of whether or not the investigation gets restarted, right?
I think it's really been a matter of, for 20, 30 years, he's been treated as this kind of like, just bloke down at the pub with me, with me fag and me beer, and I'm just a commentator. And the UK press, just like the American press, has always treated Farage with a certain degree of kind of like, the same way that the Australian press here treats Hanson, with kind of like wide-eyed bemusement of like, oh my goodness, could you believe he's saying these things? What a naughty boy. But then as soon as you become an MP, and as soon as real, sort of donation scandals and corruption and real journalism happens and real questions start to be asked, all of a sudden it's much less cute to be, a figure on the sidelines, sort of poking fun at the establishment. It's like, well, if you really are going to be the next Prime Minister of the UK, you actually deserve some real serious scrutiny. And he does not hold up under that scrutiny because he's a corrupt fuckbag. So, like, yeah, and you're starting to see this with figures elsewhere on the far right as they get closer and closer to power. People realize how stunningly inept they actually are. And the journalism finally starts to kick in and people start regarding them with some degree of scrutiny. Now, will it be enough to stop him from becoming the Prime Minister? I don't know. Is Andy Burnham talented enough? Is he good enough of a communicator to bring Labor back from the brink? I'm not sure. He certainly seems to be able to, waggle his chin a bit better than...
officially the new Prime Minister yet, right?
No,
I love how everyone's talking about it.
Not
yet.
It's not official.
It's underway.
The UK media has moved on from that, and they're speculating about who's going to be in Andy Burnham's cabinet. Like, they've moved past, they've already accepted it as a fait accompli that Andy Burnham is going to be the next Prime Minister, right? So that's not really in doubt anymore. It's more about what happens next, right? So he's running essentially unopposed in the leadership election. It's going to be more or less a coronation for Andy Burnham, from what I understand, which worked out great with Kamala Harris, no notes. But I don't know that. I think even in our broken media environment, as someone like this actually gets closer to the reins of power, meaning Nigel Farage, I think even our and the UK's atrophied media landscape, like, something starts to kick in where real scrutiny starts getting applied to these people. And the fact is, these far-right goons won't stand up to it. So maybe they don't actually get into power. I hope not.
That's a couple of years away.
Still a definite possibility. Yeah, exactly. As you say, there's 2 years between now and the next election. There's a lot of things that could change.
You might have to maybe
several prime ministers.
It is separate, yes.
We're at least 3 prime ministers away from the next election.
Yeah.
Of course,
they
Nigel
might give
Farage.
Liz Truss another Raz. Never know. Keep her in for another 42 days.
Pork markets. Nigel Farage.
Pork markets?
Nigel Farage is, of course, the former one of the former members of the European Parliament. I don't know how we got elected to that post, but anyway.
As someone who famously hates Brussels.
Yes. Yeah. Was the member, benefited from the payroll of being on the European Parliament and then decided to leave or advocated for the leaving of it in 20.
Benefits of being, this is exactly what he's doing now. Benefits from being a member of Parliament and also is ruining the UK, which he obviously hates. So it's kind of his MO by the sounds of it. But speaking of the EU, which Nigel Farage loves, the EU has said that addictive features on Instagram and Facebook do, in fact, breach its rules. The European Union has accused the parent company of Instagram and Facebook of designing both platforms to be, quote-unquote, addictive, to which George said, no shit, warning that it could face hefty fines if it continues to breach the bloc's tech rules. On Friday, the European Commission published preliminary findings of its... No rush, guys. Preliminary findings of its 2-year-long investigation into Meta, saying that the company was in breach of the bloc's Digital Services Act. It called on Meta to implement several design changes to curb compulsive use, to which Mark Zuckerberg said, but that's the whole point.
Yeah.
That's what the product is addicting young people and harvesting their attention for dollars. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I honestly don't know how they expect them to kind of change their app because that's the point. We want people using it. You want us to make people use it less.
They've called it out 2 specific features. So one is the infinite scroll. So you can just keep scrolling forever and they'll just keep throwing
new
things at
content
you.
keeps getting populated. Yeah.
The other thing is auto playing of videos. So you scroll down and a reel just plays. You don't have to select it. You can turn it off manually, I believe, but by default it is on.
You can also put filters on your cigarettes, but
I believe there's also questions around the sort of, they're trying to stop the concept of suggesting things to users that aren't sort of part of their direct feed.
So Facebook becomes what? Just 2 people talking in a room? What? It just becomes real life?
That's what it used to be, man. It was
what you're describing.
It used to
just
be
whatever you were following. Yeah.
It used to be you have friends and your friends post stuff and then you get their updates.
Yeah,
and
the reason they made all these changes is because people stopped using it.
They were
so
the uptake was the growth curve. People were like, "Oh, I've looked at all my friends' stuff," and then they stopped. They're like, "Well, how do we keep going?"
I guess I better go home and talk to. I better look up and speak with my family and engage in life now. And they're like, no. The shareholders say that we need to grow 3% quarter on quarter every quarter. So infinite scroll and the like button. And here's something that'll make you pissed off. We're going to autoplay it. This is what social media is to a certain degree. And I'm all for banning. Let's ban it all. Fuck them. Let's fucking go. I'm all for banning all of it. But it does seem funny to be these things that your product is don't comport with our, with our rules.
Also,
so you're gonna have to alter the product. It's
that's all social media now.
That's
so all
social media
has adapted to this model. YouTube's the same. TikTok is the same.
Yeah. We saw, when Snapchat came in and that was a big deal and stories were a thing. Well, Instagram was like, great, now we have stories as well. When TikTok really started kicking off and the vertical video and you scroll and you just get a feed of different videos that are auto-populated and all that sort of stuff, or Instagram's like, oh, we've got Reels. And that's exactly the exact same thing. So it's a process of constantly finding out whatever the most fucking addictive latest social media trend is and either buying it or incorporating it, stealing its features. That's what Meta does, right?
Video content is now for the longest time, it was if you're going to do a video, it's got to be in widescreen because that's the cinematographic, that's
16 by 9, baby. You got to go ProRes.
Now it's if your video is not in 4:3 or whatever, what's that?
9 by 16. It's just the opposite.
Yeah. You're not going to get people aren't going to watch it. Like,
Yeah.
if it's not filling that whole screen with that juicy images that are auto-playing as you scroll down.
The whole
Like-
reason we use Riverside, the reason you, the listener, you there, yes, you, no, not you, yes, you. The reason you're seeing us right now is because we're in vertical video. That's the whole reason you're seeing us, right? Because we're going into the algorithm and we're going to fire up some fucking neurotransmitters. You're going to fucking click on something and you're going to fucking buy some Colgate, okay? That's the whole reason you're seeing this.
I don't... Look, the European Union has always had very progressive privacy and digital, like, legislative
And
frameworks,
technology,
if you will.
legislative
Yeah, the
stuff as well.
GDPR is like famously a European invention, right? Which is all about how companies handle and store and deal with and deprecate your digital data, right?
Yeah.
But I think at this point, I know we thought Australia banning,
social media for
under
teenagers,
16s.
kind of, sort of.
Yeah, we thought that would be kind of crazy and they wouldn't get that done, and they've sort of done it. Now they've done it for porn sites as well, and like
I do need the porn sites back. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't know. We're gonna,
please.
we're not
bring
accepting
it back.
registrations. I'm kind of caught in a bit of a pickle, so you're gonna help me out here. So,
But I don't know how they would do this. I don't know.
I remember this now explains. It only just came to me now because I didn't think of it when reading the article. But I remember having a feature in Instagram recently that since went away, but where like the scroll feed of going through pictures, I don't scroll through the reels really, but like just through the picture feed stopped and was like, you've scrolled past like 5 things. Do you want to stop, maybe? Think about stopping? Or do you want me to load more? And I had to prompt it to load more. But the thing is, it did it like, I'd been on Instagram for like 3 seconds. Went, you've done a lot of scrolling. I'm like, I literally haven't. So it was very broken. But that was clearly something that they were fucking with to try and
build and
try and
test to
curb
see,
this sort of stuff. I don't know what it is with them and building all these, like, that just features that no one wants or bad ways to... like to comply with these sorts of rules. I don't know if you two kept up with the I don't think it rolled out in Australia, but it did in America for a bit. The make AI generated images of any Instagram user based on their public pictures feature that they rolled out.
Why the fuck? Why
You
are you
had to
doing
opt
this?
out of it if you had a public profile.
Stop.
And then the backlash was so huge they've gotten rid of it. And I'm like, who thought that was a good... How many meetings did that have to go through for
Just a
someone to be like,
classic-
this is a great idea? People,
Just-
who asked for that?
Fun. It's
Classic-
fun,
it's just
Tom.
a classic
Who asked for that?
example.
Fun. We're all just playing,
I cannot
developing
think
connection.
of a good reason to have that.
Yeah,
the
what
only
is a
reason I
no-
can think is I want to make fucked images of someone's like who I publicly see on Instagram. There is no wholesome reason for me to be able to go make me an image of me and at whoever on a park bench.
Yeah.
No one is doing that. It's all gonna be revenge porn.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Like that's all it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Like
no, the
I
metaverse
don't
is definitely going to be huge. Trust me.
Yeah.
That's why we renamed the company. I just,
Fuck, remember that? They renamed the company for something that just did not happen.
it's at least they didn't go in, after the NFT thing, which sort of collapsed. They were sort of doing their own. Oh, Facebook's going to do
Thank
its own
fuck.
Libra coin. Like, it's going to be cryptocurrency. They do seem to go big in on whatever the latest trend is, and like sometimes it hits and sometimes it very much does not. But it is interesting to me that, to your point earlier, Tom, about sort of getting weird little updates and things like that. I mean, Facebook is notorious for doing this sort of shit, rolling different features out across different geographies and A/B testing them and things like that. Like, there was that thing about you can't, for a while, I don't know if it's still there, if it's gone, about not seeing the number of likes on an Instagram post.
Yeah,
It was like rolled out
couldn't see the number,
specifically to Australia first to see how we would sort of deal with it. And then there were, sort of go back and pull it into the US. So like they've got a history of sort of doing this. And of course, from a dev perspective, you can see how they would have different versions of the same software in different environments, different geographies and things like that. It would not be impossible to implement. But as we said, it's going to severely limit the the usability of the product,
the profitability of the app
and the profitability
for them in that region,
and their growth, and all
so-
this sort of stuff. The reason they build all these addiction features in is to make them sticky. It's all about user adoption, monthly active users, stickiness, and Facebook in particular
and seeing the ads.
has a real problem with growth, and growing their user base, and the people that are on there don't really use it that much unless you're a boomer looking at AI. Jesus.
It's still the largest social media platform on the planet, but its growth has curbed over the last X amount of years.
And
right?
the number must go up. So the only way that you can get more growth is to get people to stick around on the service longer.
Maybe, there is a point in capitalism where you just can't grow anymore.
Where you've just saturated the entire world.
Yes.
And you physically can't roll social media out to more people than there are.
Maybe this is it, right?
Can we just give these people a medal or something?
You won capitalism.
They can.
You did it.
They get a plaque. And you're maximum growth. You did it.
I think it was Ted Sarandos from Netflix who said, our main competitor isn't other streaming services, it's sleep. And that should give you some idea of how these...
That's concerning.
How these big social media companies and streaming services, how they think of their consumers. It's like, well, if we can't grow because there physically are not enough people in the world with internet access to grow into, then we just need to get them to spend more time rage clicking on things within the platform, right? So we need to tweak the algorithm. We need to tweak these features. Oh, this A/B test we ran meant that users that saw this particular enraging content spent 0.25% more time on the platform than the people who didn't. Okay, so we're going to prioritize that and deprioritize this, right? And that's why you had all those changes around, sort of news content, and all of a sudden people weren't seeing stuff from their family and their friends and stuff anymore. They're seeing rage bait online and AI slop and all this sort of stuff, right? So it's
if I'm looking at, I still use Facebook, right? Let's just do a test here. I'm going to open up Facebook.
For what reason?
And I'm going to refresh it. And I just find it's the app with the most utility. But if I scroll down, if I don't look at stories and I scroll down, I've got some weird post from a person called Maurice Johnson who I'd never heard. It's just a post about a picture of an old building. Then I've got an ad for a DMX cable. And then I have
a DMX cable?
An article. I don't know, something to do with some sort of cable. A article from Popular Mechanics. I have a model shooting a gun.
Honestly,
I have another
they've got
ad.
They've got you pegged,
another
bro.
ad
This all sounds like you.
Some sort of
military sims.
That is no. It's like an article, like a health thing, a supplement. Some rage baiting thing about SBS. An article from Pulse Tasmania, and then another ad. So every three things I see is an ad. Every other post is either suggested. I've actually got no posts here from my network at all. And that might be because they're just not posting, right?
No, it's the dead internet theory, right? The idea that no one's actually posting on half of this shit anyway. It's all bots posting on other bots' posts from bots.
It's just a feed of information. I'm opening up his app, and I'm not looking at what it was when I first started using it, which was what are all my mates up to. It is now just a feed of information of the world around.
What's George doing today? Taking a shit.
Yeah, what's on your mind?
Yeah, remember that? What's on your mind? Yes.
Yeah. And now we know far too much about each other.
I'm going to poke you.
The poking thing was super weird.
It's odd. I don't know what
it's pretty weird.
I can't think of anything more millennial than poking people on Facebook.
I feel ashamed about some of the pokes.
And us thinking that was a good idea.
Some of the pokes that I made in the past. I don't know.
I don't see how they get away from that business model, because that's literally the entire content feed is that business
to
model.
Saturate people's attention with dross and then feed them fucking ads about Colgate. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Which is probably why
But you know what? At least it's costing us everything, so it's worth it.
It's probably why certain discussions in the public discourse blow up and become more prevalent than others, perhaps. Particularly, one of those discussions is around anti-Semitism in Australia, which there are good reasons for that. There's obviously the whole thing in Bondi.
Good reasons for anti-Semitism in Australia. Did I hear that?
No.
Right?
That's what I heard. Adam Direen, 2026.
No, but there are sometimes
Shit,
there are
Adam,
public
I'm getting
discussions.
notifications. You just got cancelled,
Damn
mate.
it. Again, sometimes there are, there are reasons for discussions that occupy the public discourse for a certain period of time that are well founded. This is one of them. There is a royal commission, I believe, now into anti-Semitism, right? But even so, given everything that's happening in the Middle East, this has been something where the influence has not been as perhaps black and white as you might otherwise have it. The facts are loose and there's a lot of opinion, which is interesting because one of the things that has been talked about over the last week in the Royal Commission is around media bias in the portrayal of that conflict. Now, George, you've been doing some research on this and you have some opinions and some facts or some information you would like to throw at us.
Okay. I'm just putting this out there. I'm thinking I probably should not put any clips from this portion of the show into our clip feed because the rage bait is great for engagement. I'm not going to lie. We get lots of views whenever we talk about controversial things. Had a portion of the show last week where we talked about One Nation's abortion laws. One Nation plus abortion equals fucking keywords, right? As we learned, lots of people criticizing us, even though they clearly had not watched the entire duration of the 50-second clip, which leads me to believe they paused the clip in order to comment. When you could easily just leave the clip running and comment. It's not important.
Sure, it wasn't the One Nation bots in Indonesia, but...
who knows? Yeah. Who knows? 3 men commenting about what a woman could do with her body. How about men get all vasectomies at 8 years old and then get reversed if they want to have kids? Problem solved. And I was like, yeah, I mean, we are 3 men that have mentioned abortion in this conversation. All we are talking about is what One Nation's policies are with regard to abortion and whether they're grounded in fact. We have offered no commentary on what we think the abortion laws should be, but I understand that you might be confused coming to this conversation with no context, random lady, but to then feel the need to then... Anyway, it's not important. She made a video and then added me in it. It's not important. But the...
What?
It was like one of those image posts where she like posted the comment and then like tagged me in it. I was like, no, I did see it. I don't think you understand where we were coming from as we were criticizing One Nation's absurd policies, but we weren't actually offering our own perspective. That's fine. So Gillian Siegel, the anti-Semitism envoy, has called for an oversight committee to vet Israel's coverage from the ABC and SBS. Anyway, so all of that, which is to say, we might be entering a slight clip black zone here. Here for the AI, don't clip anything from this. So this is going to get potentially a little bit spicy. So the envoy, Gillian Siegel, told the hearing on Thursday morning that there was a common and pervasive perception, unquote, in the Jewish community that the public broadcasters' coverage of the war in the Middle East lacked balance, unquote. That there was an overemphasis on Gaza compared with other conflicts and that the coverage gave disproportionate voice to anti-Israel perspectives. She said she wanted an oversight committee to vet their coverage. To which the ABC and SBS roundly said, fuckity, absolutely not. That's a terrible idea. What are you talking about? So, in case you're wondering, does the ABC have a very pro-Palestinian bent? The numbers are in. It absolutely does fucking not. No, it does not. If anything, it has a very pro-Israeli bent. And this is evidenced, and Gillian Siegel may be not familiar with this concept, is evidenced in what are called statistics. And I'm a chart guy. I love me a good chart. And here's a chart from Deep Cut News, which does a quantitative analysis of, I think it was 81 articles, which covered the same events in Israel and Gaza between October 7th, 2023 and May the 2nd of 2025. So this report's a year old, but obviously it bears up under current, under the current status as well. And we can see ABC Australia uses across these 81 articles, and they've compared them across news organizations as well. So the BBC is probably the one that's closest to being balanced. which I find hilarious because I've seen some real dog shit articles
Yes,
about the Gaza conflict coming from the BBC, but okay.
Yeah, because this is on the metric of using humanizing language when referring to either Israeli or Palestinian people involved or casualties and all that sort of stuff.
And the thing is, with news articles with the written word, you can perform these kinds of quantitative analysis, sentiment analysis. When we talk about, and we've talked about reports like this in the past, it's like when we talk about Palestinians dying, there's always a lot of passive language that's used. Palestinians die in bombing. When Israelis are killed, it's Israelis murdered by Hamas terrorists, right? It's very active language involved. But all those things aside, I encourage you to look at the fucking graph. ABC Australia, humanizing words for Israelis per article, you're looking at 1.5. Humanizing words for Palestinians per article, you're looking at 0.9. Right? Less than 1 per article. The source count analysis, right, across, this is for ABC Australia. Palestinian sources, you're looking at 0.9 sources from a Palestinian per article. For Israeli sources, you're looking at 1.3 Israeli sources per article about the conflict. So, what we're seeing here is this, and I've seen articles from the ABC where they quote Israeli Prime Minister, Israeli Defense Source, Israel, like the top 3 pull quotes are all Israeli officials. And then, if a Palestinian perspective is mentioned, it's done so with the proviso that, well, this is from the Palestinian Health Ministry, which is controlled by Hamas, so you can't believe anything they say. Sort of, like this little throat clearing of like, this is all bullshit what we're about to tell you, but this is the other side, right? And we're seeing this borne out in the statistics. Perspective distribution analysis here. We can see in ABC Australia, the Israeli perspective is represented in sort of roughly 23% of the article. The Palestinian perspective is on average represented in around 12 or 13% of the article, and the international organization perspective, i.e. the UN, is represented in about 4% of the articles. So what you're seeing here broadly across all of these organizations that are profiled, BBC, ABC Australia, and CNN, is what is inarguably, to my mind, a pro-Israeli perspective. The only one that has these figures reversed is Al Jazeera, which is obviously an Arabic-based entity, right?
I'd argue SBS's coverage. I don't know if there's many stats there on SBS.
There's nothing on SBS.
Think they didn't look at SBS's stuff.
So
for this
SBS,
study.
which is a channel I watch frequently.
We get it. You watch SBS. We get it.
You're better than the rest of us.
We get it.
I am better than you.
It's true.
It is. Look, I'd say it does have an Islamic or shall we say a bent towards Palestinian or Lebanese stories.
Oh,
but I would also argue
the Foreign News Network has a bias towards.
But I would argue that their sources and reporting are all fairly legit. It's not like they're making things up. Like they're taking them from established sources. They do use third party news like programs. Organizations like
wires like AP. And all that sort of stuff,
yeah. So they're using stats from the UN. So the other thing we should just be very clear here with Gillian Siegel said that there is a common and perception in the Jewish community that the public broadcasters' coverage of the war.
But if she didn't agree with
balance.
it, why is she bringing it up and asking for an impartial ombudsman on top of the ombudsman and the media communications standards that we already have, which oversee the ABC and the SBS? So we're going to add a third ombudsman specifically just to the ABC and the SBS, which is what she's calling for, if she doesn't believe that that is the case. Right? And she's a lawyer. She's Harvard trained. She's very careful with her words, right? She's not imprecise.
No,
but she does highlight a perspective which I do not believe to be true. And her remedy to rectify that perceived imbalance is also clearly biased. It comes from a slanted perspective that we think Israeli perspectives are being underrepresented and that needs to be rectified, right? That's the whole position that she's coming from.
And that's a really good point as well, that there is already... So each news outlet has their own ombudsman, which is meant to be independent. And there are stats here from the article that they receive a lot of complaints. I didn't realize the ombudsman, they're busy. the Ombudsman's office.
People
for
pissed.
The ABC. They said that, so ABC Ombudsman Fiona Cameron said that they've actually received a lot of organised campaigns. So some stats here. So from October 2023 to May 2026.
I like
her
the organised
office-
campaign to get Antoinette Lattouf kicked out of her job, like that kind of organised campaign.
Maybe a little bit. Her office settled 19,000 content complaints, of which 42%, 8,000, were complaints about the ABC's coverage of Israel and Gaza. So Cameron said that initially an episode of Q&A after October 7 in 2023, that generated nearly 2,000 complaints that were organised and alleged the program was pro-Israel. She said that since that time, there's been a definite trend towards campaigns that are complaining that the coverage was pro-Palestinian. And what she said is that the reason why they can tell this is that the complaints are all written the same way.
Yeah, it's clearly an organised campaign because
they're all copies
of
the same text.
Yeah.
Now, so the other stat here is in the 6 months from July to December 2025, 51% of complaints claimed the ABC's Israel-Gaza coverage was broadly pro-Palestinian, and 47% claimed it was broadly pro-Israel. So really that's pretty much, it's just two sides of a conflict, like both feeling like they're being underrepresented, basically. It's not so much, like if that was like 90-10 or something, you'd go, okay. But it's like
if you're pissing everyone off equally, then you're doing a good job, I guess, is the argument you're making there. I suppose. But I would argue that the reason that people are upset, the reason that, let me rephrase, the reason that the Jewish community might think that there is a bias against Israel may be not because of latent anti-Semitism, but it may be because of Israel's allegedly genocidal actions in Gaza, right? Like the reason that there might be so much hate being directed towards, the coverage is potentially because what the Israeli government is doing is objectively abhorrent. If you look at all of the analyses from these international agencies like the UN, which said that there's a plausible genocide happening there, right? So I don't think it's fair, as someone who is not Jewish, this is very difficult because I want to be respectful of the experience of the Jewish community and what they've been through and the history and the Holocaust and all that sort of stuff. I get why they would feel persecuted. And there is anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is real. It is a real thing, as evidenced by the neo-Nazis that were marching on New South Wales Parliament not that many weeks ago, on which, suspiciously, Gillian Segal has been silent. And yet, I question why the focus of Gillian Segal, the anti-Semitism envoy's efforts, are on universities. Why her the eye that she is turning is towards the media, universities, these sorts of sectors, notoriously sort of left-wing, sectors of the economy, rather than speaking out openly against avowed open neo-Nazi groups, which are visible and present in our society today. One would argue if anti-Semitism and not being pro-Israel was your primary focus, that the neo-Nazis might provide an obvious starting point for your criticism and focus. And yet she has spoken publicly not at all about those things. And she said, I've provided commentary and background to journalists about all that. It's like, well, you're the anti-Semitism envoy. I feel like it's kind of it's the one thing that you're really here to do is when there's neo-Nazis, you should say something about it, right?
Yeah.
And yet she's been very silent on those things and very vocal.
She's talked about pulling
media,
funding from universities and media
pulling
outlets.
funding from universities, pulling funding from arts festivals and cultural institutions if they don't agree with her definition of anti-Semitism, which is the definition of anti-Semitism that was proposed by
the Holocaust Remembrance Alliance.
The Holocaust Remembrance
International
Alliance,
Holocaust Remembrance
the
Alliance.
IHRA, which we read through on the show some months ago when that was announced. And to my mind, I would say conflates the state of Israel and its actions with Judaism in a way that is extremely problematic.
Yeah, with like the values of the religion, the values and belief of the religion tied to the actions of a government.
Which I think in and of itself is extremely unhelpful because it conflates. It's sort of conflating Israel and Judaism is exactly the kind of dual loyalty, racist, anti-Semitic trope that's been used against Jewish people over hundreds and hundreds of years. You're not really loyal to us. You're really loyal to the state of Israel, right?
But to be clear, that's not necessarily that is a position that is being pushed by the current Israeli political establishment.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. But she has advocated for that as well.
As well as the various levers of political influence they have throughout the world. So it's, I guess she is, just tapping into an already existing message to that extent.
Oh, yeah. Well, she's not the mastermind behind this.
But
by design.
But she has criticised the Labor government for not wanting to adopt the IHRA's definition of anti-Semitism. That is what she proposed in her initial report, which we talked through on the show. And to do that would mean that the university sector, if you're criticizing Netanyahu or the state of Israel for what I would argue, these is not my position. A group from the UN has said that it has described the conflict as a plausible genocide. Netanyahu currently has an open warrant for his arrest, from the International Criminal Court for war crimes, right?
Yeah.
These are not things that have been done lightly. And to conflate criticism of Netanyahu and Judaism and to say anything that you say about Netanyahu that's bad, Netanyahu, this corrupt, champagne-swilling, cigar-stealing fuck
we should be able to criticize,
who's perpetuated an alleged genocide, to say that any criticism about him and his government and Ben Gvir and the other fucking extremists that he has in his cabinet that he mollycoddles, to say any criticism of that is anti-Semitic, and if you, a university, say that, or if you, an arts festival, say that, or if one of the artists in your arts festival says that, or you, a media organization, comments on that, the definition of anti-Semitism that she would have us adopt would then allow her and allow the government to penalize those people in institutions
under that proposed model that she was,
which is what she wanted.
About.
I find that incredibly fucking concerning.
Yeah, I mean that's the death of free speech to a certain extent. There, I hate to be one of those guys who's like free speech at all costs, but like,
well,
it
is. Was it APRA?
Slope.
It was
ACMA, wasn't
ACMA. The governing body, the peak body that oversees medical personnel in the Australian economy. I forget the acronym.
Oh, sorry, I'm thinking of the Australian Communications and Media Authority.
No.
ACMA. No, you're talking about something.
So there was a proposal a month ago, presumably that came out of this Royal Commission, which said that they are now taking the recommendation to adopt the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism, which means if you're a doctor, if you're a nurse, you are now governed under these principles. And so what's to say if you're a doctor, say you're Dr. Mo, who goes and speaks out about what he's witnessed in Palestine and the kids that are being killed and the work he's done there and speaks out about it, now potentially his medical license could be suspended because he's advocating what would be described as anti-Semitism under this incredibly broad standard. Like, it's incredibly chilling that we're seeing this pervade through our society, and it seems like no one's really talking about it. No one's really that upset about it. I mean, to be clear, Gillian Segal is a former Israel lobbyist. Like, I understand that you need someone with subject matter expertise to be something as important as the anti-Semitism envoy. But, presumably not someone who's got has had financial interests tied in with the Israeli government would have been a better choice when appointing this particular person. It's a very sensitive role. I mean, the fact that the coalition was excited when she was announced should have sent warning bells up for all of us, right?
I mean, it was a political win for Labor when they appointed her. It was like, we're going to get someone that...
That's all they wanted. They wanted the headline.
Israeli
they wanted
lobby
someone that the coalition
wanted.
would be happy with, and they just wanted to diffuse the argument.
Yeah. But now they're stuck with her, for better or worse.
She's openly criticising the government that appointed her. You know what I mean?
Well, that's her job, though, to be fair. So her job is to criticise. But
her job is to provide recommendations, right? And on how best to fight anti-Semitism.
She has to point a problem out and then suggest recommendations, right?
Yeah.
But, which will probably come back to government policy at some point, whether it be at the state level, local level, or federal level. But the point being here is that even if, like, let's say she resigned tomorrow, like anyone that you would be qualified to fulfill that position probably would be of a similar political stance, perhaps?
No, because there's other Jewish peak bodies. The Jewish Council of Australia.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe
exists,
there are. I don't know.
Right? Okay. And they don't align with Gillian Siegel's kind of perspective on all of this sort of stuff around Israel. So there's the Council of, what's it called? Of the Executive Council of Australian Jewry, right? That's what she was the past president of.
Yeah.
And they seem to be on the more sort of like, right wing, kind of
nationalist,
like Zionist, pro-Israel kind of side of things.
Yeah.
And then there's the Jewish Council Australia, which has a distinctly more sort of like left-wing flavour to it, right? The whole point of all of this is to say
there is a diversity of voices.
There's a diversity of opinions here, and you've seen
right.
Jewish people participating in pro-Palestinian protests and things like that. Curiously, none of their names are floated as anti-Semitism envoy. I wonder why. So it does seem to me that there is a plurality of opinions here in the Jewish community. Like every community, they are not a monolith. Yeah. And yet they chose to appoint Siegel, as you say, because it was an easy political win. I think she's starting to cause them a lot of problems. So this is from her Wikipedia page. Siegel has long been an advocate for Israel in Australia. In November 2023, she co-signed a statement condemning Foreign Minister Penny Wong and the Labor Party for calling on Israel to cease the attacking of hospitals and its support for a UN resolution calling for a ceasefire. She was chair of the Australia-Israel Chamber of Commerce until March of 2025. And then shortly thereafter was appointed to the anti-Semitism envoy role. I mean, it seems pretty astounding to me that you would be directly criticizing the government for something as anodyne as asking for the the cessation of attacking hospitals. Like to attack them for a statement like that is pretty extraordinary. I mean, I can't imagine anything more kind of like middle of the road than saying, please stop attacking hospitals and like, let's try to find a peaceful two-state solution to this problem, right? Yeah. And she, signed a complaint condemning the foreign minister. Now, don't get me wrong. I've also condemned the foreign minister for being various shades from deeply to gravely concerned on all these issues.
She is gravely concerned about your complaints, George.
But, I'm also not trying to assume a position of strategic importance when it regarding anti-Semitism, right? So I understand you need subject matter expertise.
Well, she wasn't appointed then either, by the way. Like she was
right, but that was
prior to her appointment.
Shortly prior to, she was appointed
about a year
shortly thereafter.
Before.
In July, 9th of July 2024 is when she was appointed. So
those comments were in October, wasn't it?
8 months prior, right? So shortly after the October 7th attack. Also, in January of 2025, Siegel criticized, so this is after she was appointed, mind you, Siegel criticized lenient sentencing for anti-Semitic offences as a factor determining undermining efforts to address hate crimes against the Australian Jewish community and called for mandatory imprisonment for individuals attacking synagogues, following an increase in attacks on synagogues and Jewish homes in the prior months. Siegel called on Albanese and state premiers to convene a national cabinet meeting. She argued that urgent action is required to implement tougher sentencing guidelines and ensure more consistent prosecution of anti-Semitic hate crimes. Both of those requests were rejected by Albanese. I mean, we know the mandatory minimums don't work to disincentivize people from doing crimes. All it does is put people away.
Puts more people in prison.
Puts more people in prison, right. Siegel did not comment on no Nazis prominently attending a protest march in Melbourne on the 31st of August 2025 and did not issue a public statement regarding a neo-Nazi protest on the 8th of November 2025 outside of Parliament in New South Wales, which we mentioned earlier, which protesters displayed a banner attacking the Jewish lobby. When questioned by David Shoebridge during an Australian Senate estimate, Siegel confirmed she did not release a formal public statement, saying she had instead provided background statements to individual journalists upon request. I mean, this seems woefully insufficient to me for an anti-Semitism envoy, and to come in with this approach of I'm just asking questions why they don't implement a impartial body to sit over the top of and guide the coverage of our national broadcast. I'm just saying maybe it would be a good thing. I'm not saying the ABC's biased, but maybe they need another independent body to chill their speech further. I mean, I don't think I'm overstating things by saying I am starting to see a very disturbing pattern forming here in terms of the things she is advocating, the avenues in which she would like to go down, and the willful disregard of the independence of a lot of our institutions that she seems happy to subordinate to these random authorities that she's looking to create.
It also plays into the narrative that the Sky News, Murdoch Media, and other organisations have that the ABC, Pauline Hanson as well, right? ABC, Guardian, SBS, all these sort of organisations are somehow, not doing journalism good service, basically.
Yeah, it plays into all of the far right's attack on these institutions.
The lack of trust.
It happens to be, happens to be, the things that we're focused on just happens to be universities and the ABC, which is the exact thing that all of the right wing is also really pissed about and has been chipping away at for fucking decades. Just happens to be. Just happens to be. Total coincidence.
It's just another layer on top of the already sort of, unjustified attacks, really.
I'm starting to see a very notable conservative bent in terms of her line of inquiry, which I find very concerning. This is too important of a role to muck around with this kind of partisan
crap.
Yeah. And interestingly, last thing I'm going to mention about Gillian Siegel, her family's trust made a very substantial donation to Advance Australia, hyper-conservative, far-right communications mouthpiece, Advance Australia. So in the 23-24 financial year, her and her husband's family trust, operating through a trustee company, Henroth Investments, made a $50,000 donation to Advance. Henroth Investments is directed by Siegel's husband and his brother Stanley. So she doesn't direct it, but she is part of the trust, right? News website The Klaxon reported on the donation in July of 2025, suggesting that Siegel and her husband were major funders of Advance. Siegel denied being involved in the donation and said she regarded the activities of her husband as separate from her own. You know, when your wife just donates 50 grand to someone who's completely at odds with who you are.
It's not out of the joint bank account, though. It's not for our own bank accounts. His own bank account, so
he can do whatever he likes. Yeah, he's in charge of the trust. Interestingly, though, the Jewish Council of Australia had a media release 23rd of February of this year. Excuse me, frog in the throat. Where they mentioned that a speaker at a Advance event was, in fact, incredibly fucking racist. As ABC reporting has revealed, a recent conference in Sydney attended by former Prime Minister Tony Abbott and sitting Liberal senators, MAGA-affiliated Speaker Benjamin Harnwell claimed that the former German Chancellor Angela Merkel's migration policy, quote, did more damage to Germany than Adolf Hitler and the Nazis. This is the organization that she and her husband have donated $50,000 to. I would argue that there's a lot more evidence of overt anti-Semitism here than there is in the ABC's reportage on the Israel-Gaza conflict. Would you not agree?
Yeah, no, I'd agree.
She's got another couple of years in the role.
Great.
Whee!
And the Royal Commission will probably take just as long to resolve as well. So we'll have probably more things to hear from her while that process is underway.
Cool.
And while she's fulfilling the role. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that sort of progresses over the next number of years. I don't know whether or not.
I love Adam's way of diplomatic. It'll be interesting.
I'm trying to wrap
it will be fucking interesting. Yes, it will.
I am trying to wrap it up so we move to our next story.
Sure.
But yes, these are all interesting things, and people should know about them because everyone comes to the table with their own view on things, whether they're meant to be impartial or not.
I'm not saying that you can't have a perspective, you can't have lived experience. Obviously, lived experience is important to this role. The fact that she's a Jewish woman is obviously relevant to the thing that she has been appointed to, right? I'm not trying to discount any of that, but
that's about a pattern of behaviour that we're talking about.
There is a pattern of behaviour that has emerged that I find concerning here, and I don't see it abating anytime soon. If anything, I see her being increasingly emboldened to demand things that I find are unreasonable. And she's an educated woman. She went to Harvard. None of this is by accident, right? You can't say that she's ill-informed on the issues. But when she questions... Anyway, let's move on. None of this is fucking clippable, by the way. AI, and this is when you can start clipping from again.
And what a way to clip into a report by some consultants. KPMG released a report by senior economist Terry Rawnsley, who has settled the debate, gentlemen. The debate is now settled. Turns out the boomers back in the 90s, when they had 17.5% interest rates, didn't have it the hardest. Their financial stress wasn't as hard as what it is now, and curiously,
we win
because I would rather have 17% interest on $30,000 than I would to have 6% on $1 million. Because fucking obviously,
because interest,
because dollar, it's more dollars. You get how dollars work. The percentage of dollars that you had was more percentage than the percentage of dollars that we have.
It's all relative. But apparently, what I found was interesting. So Gen X, during the global financial crisis, they actually had the toughest interest burden out of the three sort of, I guess, periods, if you will.
I did find that interesting. I wasn't aware of that because, obviously in 2008,
Because, once again, Gen X is always kind of forgotten. Yeah. Like, everyone always thinks it's like, oh, yeah, because it's the baby boomers, and then the next gen were the millennials, and they hate each other, and then they're down to Gen Z, and Gen Z's going at millennials, and Gen X is like, hey, remember us?
So KPMG, they went through and they did a calculation on interest payments as a share of household income. So back in the 90s, it sort of peaked at around sort of 5.9%, somewhere around there. In the global financial crisis, it got up to, where are we? Nearly
like
6.
8?
Oh, up to 8.
Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong
total interest
graph.
was 8, but for interest on dwellings was above 6. And in the most recent examples, the last sort of 12 months or so, we're sort of just above 5. But in terms of all interest, so if you include interest on consumer debt as well, we're currently at about currently at 5.4%, but it did peak up at around 5.9. Last year. So the point being here is that if anyone ever tells you, back in my day, bloody Labor and the Keating, and there's a recession we had to have, and it was 17.9% interest. Yeah, they're like, we've got it worse. And Gen X had it much worse, as it turns out, during the years of the GFC and for some years afterwards as well, up until about 2013.
Yeah, so take
Joel
that.
just got the graph.
Take that, mum.
Yes.
You didn't have it worse. Settle the debate of who had it worse.
This is literally
you didn't have it worse. So shut
me
up.
just rubbing it in my mum's face. But
anyway. Also, it's just that, hooray, we won. We're in the shittest timeline. Oh, no.
But this is a good segue to sort of point out that the economy is quite soft at the moment. Everything's sort of going back. There is a colloquial sort of evidence if you listen to the Murdoch News, but just generally, if you go down the street, you can see there's a lot of shops up for rent and things for sale, and
the unemployment rate is ticking up, and inflation's still high, and the interest rates are continuing to ratchet up. It's not a great time to be alive.
Because he lives is still a problem. And so that may be why music theatre is currently suffering. So this is the story I want to talk about last week, which I think as a former arts kid, I just wanted to sort of call this out. In the space of a week, two major musicals in Melbourne, Waitress and Beetlejuice, as well as a $20 million opera, were forced to cancel shows amid skyrocketing costs, which have affected lots of people's employment.
Sorry, say that again. Waitress and what?
Waitress and Beetlejuice.
One more?
And a $20 million opera, which was from
Waitress
Opera
and
Australia.
George.
A $20
He's
million
not taking the bait.
opera.
What was it? It was two musicals. It was Waitress and there was one other one.
I see, because I haven't actually ever seen Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. But I do know that trope, so there we go. So yeah, there are, these are ostensibly, large musicals that, are worth a lot of money. And they were due, the thing is that they were due to tour. So they were going to finish their Melbourne leg and basically pick up and go around the country. And they basically had to cancel the runs in other cities. And Beetlejuice is not a small musical. It's written by Eddie Perfect. It's been on Broadway and the West End,
two massive
show.
films, and yeah.
It had to cancel its Australian tour. It's ended its Brisbane run 3 weeks early. Sorry, it actually had gone to Brisbane. The show was also meant to go to Perth and Adelaide and Sydney. So they've cancelled all that. And apparently, what the reason is that the touring costs, the physical costs of like picking it up and moving it to various other cities and states have just become too expensive. Like you would even if ticket sales are good, you would still lose money basically on the endeavour.
And to your point earlier about Cosy Lives, I mean, a lot of people are struggling with their daily, sort of just keeping up with their rent and their mortgage and all this sort of stuff. They don't have $150, $200 to drop on a ticket to go see a musical, right? So this is something that's referred to in the literature as cost disease, right? So when you have a product that cannot get more efficient, but the input costs for that product keep going up and up and up, the only thing that you can do is make your product more expensive. And like theatre is like the classic example of cost disease, because you can't do more shows. You can do one show a night. Maybe you can do a matinee if you can sell it. Like, you can't get more efficient at doing theatre, because the whole idea of doing theatre is being in person there at a place doing the thing. You can't make it better with software. You can't get AI to do it faster. That's the cost of the thing. And as wages go up, then the cost of the thing goes up. It's really just as simple as that. To the extent to where, in this case, these two major multi-million-dollar musicals are simply
$20 million opera.
Yeah, are simply unable to, have a profitable end result, even with many of the tickets already being sold at quite high prices, because they just can't make the economics work. So sadly, I think for a lot of live arts, a lot of art forms, we're increasingly going to see cost disease really biting in. And it's sad, because not that I'm a massive fan of musicals anymore, but like, I think the arts is really important. Where we met at uni doing a Bachelor of Performing Arts. That's how we know each other, is because we love performing arts and theatre and the art forms. And it's sad to see it,
So what they've suggested, what people are now suggesting, is that there should be a tax write-off for, major musicals, where basically if you can claim a tax deduction for half of the costs basically of staging the show.
Just kicks the can down the road a little bit. It doesn't change the mathematics. It is
a scheme that has run in the UK fairly successfully. The problem in Australia is that like there is already a what we would call a lack of public funding and private funding for the arts.
And that was going to be my suggestion, is just like, we just need to have public funding of the arts in a way that's a bit more serious and focused. Like, we just need to put more money into it. If this is something that's important, and the cultural sort of element of our major cities like Sydney and Melbourne and Brisbane is important, and we know that having these jobs and having these industries here is valuable, not just for the cultural impacts, but also our societal impacts, but also the dollar multiplier effect of having all these jobs in the economy and all these skills and networks of skills in the same area that can attract other kinds of productions and things like that. If we think all those things are important, and they are, then we need to pump public money into it. And we should stop pumping public money into fucking submarines, which doesn't have a dollar cost multiplier effect for onshore Australian jobs. And we should instead think what we could do with
we kind of already
$385 billion over 10 years if we injected it into things like the arts and hospitals and education.
It's-
and
Imagine the stage musicals we could have.
you know,
Oh man,
there'd be a
Well,
wicked on
everything.
every corner.
I saw
You
the
get a
Disney
Wicked?
Hercules stage musical when I was in London last year, and fucking
as.
the Hydra was just like there was one big puppet, and then it was a bunch of other people just in like snake heads running around in like morph suits, and I was like, for the cost of those submarines, we could have some kind of crazy multimedia insane shit going down. Like, let's do it. You haven't lived until you've seen like some crazy high budget musical on stage.
But to your point, Tom, like the West End is not just a cultural hub for London, but you know, it's one of those things. It's like when you see a mattress store, and then you see another mattress store, and then you see another fucking mattress store, and you go, why are there 5 fucking mattress stores on this one street? It's because having a corridor of like businesses attracts other like businesses, attracts commerce for those businesses. The West End in London is a massive cultural landmark, but it also brings in tourism. It's one of the things that you do when you're in London. You go see a show on the West End, right? You go see the fucking Mousetrap, right?
It was incredible to see such a lively theatre hub going on. Like when we were looking at things to do, we weren't there for very long. So like we saw 2 shows. We saw Disney's Hercules because we were like, we want to see like one of the big blockbuster ones. And we saw Cabaret, which was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. Story for another day. But there were other options for like, you know, and Ncuti Gatwa was doing a show on the West End. There were just all these amazing shows going on every day and like selling tickets. Like,
which is what makes London what makes London such an incredible, like, world-class international city is the culture and the nightlife and how these things feed off each other. It's not that just you go to a city to launder fucking Russian drug money. You can also take in a show while you're there as well.
Yeah.
¿Por qué no los dos? So so the Australian government, the last time we had an arts policy was when Labor was in, before Simon Crean was the minister, I think. Back when when did the Labor government leave? It was like 2011, 2010, whatever, the Gillard government.
2013.
2013.
Anyway,
Tony got in, I think.
So that was the last time we had an arts policy. So they're currently putting together the next arts policy in Australia. So they're talking about, you know, how do we incentivize this? Now they're looking at the film industry, you know, the tax incentives they have there for that. You know, is that a model that we should follow? As I said, do you get a deduction on half of your tax bill if you stage a big musical? But then it also begs the question of what classes is a big musical? What criteria do you have around that? And often what happens in these cases,
how big is the puppet?
How
Australian is the puppet?
The independent productions are the ones that need the help.
Well,
generally not the big stage musicals, right?
This is the problem, right? Is that you know, generally the problem has been in Australia is that there is too much funding at the top end of town and not enough at the grassroots level. But now we're seeing not only is there not enough funding at the grassroots level, the top end of town is also suffering. So it's just kind of a you know, as you said, there's a cost disease problem. You know, whether or not petrol going down and, you know, freighting companies, you know, maybe moderating their prices has anything to do with it, I don't know. But like, at the end of the day,
you're talking about a couple of percentage points. At the end of the day, this is a business, and they need to make guaranteed margins. And if they don't, investors won't put money in. Simple as that.
You know, I mean, in the US, they have a very large private donation, you know, system. But
we do have
ultimately,
philanthropy here, but yeah, it's certainly not to the extent of the
level.
US.
Not to that level. But
that's the whole reason the ballet still exists here in Australia. Yeah. How they can charge fucking a couple of $100 a ticket. And nobody really goes. It's all fucking old people that are on the brink of death. They're seeing Lindsey Graham flash before their eyes. They're about to meet him in person. Like, these are the patrons that you're seeing for ballet and opera and the arts. Is the cashed up boomers who are on the edge of death, right? So,
but we're not even talking about those companies that are the ones putting, like, those guys are still getting their funding. We're talking about like John Frost, you know, TEG. These are private companies, commercial companies,
musical production companies,
that are now struggling to make a profit.
That's what I'm saying. The only reason those other art forms exist is because wealthy patrons here in Australia are propping them up. They're not financially viable organisations in and of themselves.
No, they're not.
Australian Ballet and all this sort of stuff, right?
So it needs a big shake up, and it has needed a big shake up for 15 years, if not more. But, when I think we were at uni and then one of our lecturers said to us in our honesty, he's like, yeah, look, I used to just get paid for like doing an independent show in Q. And I was like, what? What are you talking about?
What do you mean?
Crazy man.
Yeah. All right, Grandpa, back to the home.
I mean, Adam, you and I, many years ago, produced a show independently, and we lost. I think we lost a couple of grand apiece on that show.
We did.
Because
in hindsight,
we love the theatre, we love the play, and we wanted to produce a show, and we wanted people to come and see it. And this is what, 10 years ago?
Yeah.
That shit was expensive then.
And we did it on the cheap side as well.
And we went really threadbare and tried to throw as much into marketing and getting people in the doors as possible, and failed miserably. It was very expensive. But, I can only imagine when you start getting salaried people with benefits and, transporting massive sets, from Melbourne through to Sydney, up to Brisbane and Darwin and across the fucking Nullarbor. Like, I could see how the costs would just mount up and up and up, and it's just not financially viable for these companies to produce these sort of shows anymore, which is sad because I think they're worth seeing.
Yeah. Or at least touring them is not financially viable, at least. Last story of the show.
Go see Australian shit.
Go see some shit.
Go see shit.
Go see shit. Have a wine. Enjoy yourself.
Beetlejuice.
Final story of the show. Just to quickly mention, Telstra had another outage. Or not another. Well, it was another outage. They've had two outages, I'm pretty sure. Was it just the one?
I forget how recently the other one was, but yeah, they had that really
bad one the other
day.
Yeah.
It was a couple of weeks ago. Wasn't as bad as this one, I didn't think.
Yeah.
But like everything went down for like 12 and a half hours due to the data centers in Sydney and Melbourne having an issue with their time sinks. Like, the systems that are designed to synchronize time across the entire network had a bit of an oopsie, and then that had the knock-on effect to fucking up that synchronicity across the network. Everything starts going down. I don't think they've really admitted what went wrong, but yeah.
It's one of those timers that your mum would have in the kitchen growing up. It just...
An egg timer.
Yeah, like an egg timer. They went off at the wrong time, and that's it. A couple of nodes go down. The whole cascading failures. Bunch of people... 600 people couldn't call 000 according to this article. There's 3 major national outages in less than a year.
Yeah. As someone who just this evening had to do like an evening deployment, just for an out of hours mitigate risk kind of deployment of software for his job, I'm so glad that what I do won't possibly mean someone can't call an ambulance if something goes wrong.
Sorry, you fucked up. You fucked up a cron job. Now grandma's dead.
Like,
thanks, Tom.
Yeah,
this is what happens when you play in prod, shithead.
Yeah. Do not play in prod.
Do not bypass permissions on Claude Code.
Yeah. So
otherwise, grandma might fucking die.
Yeah. So Telstra were adamant to be saying this is not like a cyber threat, like they haven't been hit by a bad actor or something, but they also haven't said like what went wrong with that synchronicity setup. But yeah, they blamed that the timing all over the entire network went out of sync and it broke everything.
No, everyone rest assured, it's not a cyber attack. Okay, we're just fuck ups, so it's fine.
Yeah, what's worse?
And I feel like some of their advertising kind of gleefully sort of jumped in on Optus when they had their 000 outages and it caused a big deal. I was like, that's a little bit embarrassing for you guys.
Turns have tabled.
Yeah.
It would actually be very amazing if Telstra like fronts up to, who was it? Was it Sarah Henderson Young, I want to say, the Greens senator?
Sarah Hanson Young.
Hanson Young, not Henderson.
You're thinking Sarah Henderson from 7:30 and Sarah Hanson Young is the Greens.
You mean Sarah Ferguson from
Sarah Ferguson. Fuck!
God damn it, they're all the same.
But like fronting up to her to say,
3 men talking on a podcast about women. Fucking classic.
But, I mean, if Telstra fronts up to Sarah and says like, but like the Optus and Vodafone and all those other networks are meant to pick up the slack from 000. Like we should be looking into that, and because Optus got a shit like just got their shit pushed in for
Hmm.
making that assessment, but kind of it's a good point. Like the system is meant to kind of piggyback up the slack.
Now the CEO over at Telstra is like, parlay?
No, they're just not answering the calls.
Hello?
They're
Hello?
like, oh, my
Is it
phone's
ringing?
still out.
The
I think
entire
he- I think
V-Line
he hung up
network
on me.
went down for a day.
It's not
like,
good.
Stop trains.
as well as
all
the
that stuff,
Sydney
yeah.
network as well.
Yeah, it turns
So,
out we don't
yeah.
need a Chinese cyber attack to take the country down. We're just going to take it down ourselves, as it turns out.
Homegrown disruption. That's the
Mm.
best part of it. It's the best disruption,
Yeah.
Yeah.
baked on the inside.
Don't worry, everything's safe. But it's really important that you don't look at porn. On that note, we have been, we are, and we always will be Unnatural Selection. Make sure you visit us at our salubrious home on the web, unnaturalshow.com, provided, of course, that our hosting is still available. Make sure you follow us on all the bullshit social medias that are ruining the world, very much so, that have, do, or ever will exist at our handle at Unnatural Show. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jorge Tsipos.
You can follow me on Threads at tom.heath.
And yeah, don't follow me anywhere.
It's getting to be a wiser and wiser position, I think, as time goes on. I am concerned about the level of access I've provided the digital ether into my
You
environment.
wanted this.
I did, but isn't it cool that I can say, Alexa, turn off the lights in the study, and then the lights turn off? That's pretty cool, and it's
Indeed.
worth all the surveillance.
God.
Is that easier to say it rather than just have a switch you can flick?
Yeah, you would have had to
Like-
have flicked a switch. Jesus.
I guess it's not
Like, is it
easier
more
when
effort?
you say it like that.
Like, you could just go click, or you could
Yeah.
It's not a
say,
big room.
Alexa.
No, it's not a big. I could have just there's a switch here.
I don't think you even need to have to
Could've
get
just-
up.
Switch
Like-
the switch on. Yeah, it's actually I can reach it from the chair.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks for listening, guys. Love your faces. I'll see you next week.